Welcome back, everyone. This is CANESCAST. I'm your host again here, Garrett, coming back to you guys with my thoughts on the Virginia game that we just got through and what we will see in the Virginia North Carolina State game coming up. So first off, congratulations to Miami Hurricanes getting a 6 victory. That makes us bowl eligible, where we haven't had a bowl in the last 2 years at least, because we declined to actually go to the bowl game in 2021 for all the things that have gone on in the wild world. And then we didn't qualify last year for a bowl game in 2022. So that is important. We do have to get those extra practices in. As far as this team is concerned, all the experience that we can gain is going to be helpful. So and then we'll get a 13th game at least for sure. So my thoughts on the game. Virginia did what I said in the previous episode, the preview episode of the Virginia game, is they made this game close. It started off right off the bat. They got the ball after we got the ball to start the game. Didn't do much with it. TBD was back, playing the entirety of the game, and boy, he did not look like the TBD that we've got used to seeing at the beginning of the season. He wasn't throwing the ball very well. He's definitely injured, and them putting him out here, I guess, is that's what the coach decided is the best thing for the team as far as getting a chance to victory. But boy, it was rough. So when Virginia gets the ball, they take the first possession and they storm right down the field, get 6 points right off the first drive, 7 when they kick the extra point. But what I thought was key was that their offense was running high tempo. They were, getting to the line right after each play. Not a whole lot of signaling back and forth, looking to the sideline, which Miami did do. They actually ran a little bit of tempo, but mostly what it was getting to the line of scrimmage, and then you saw TVD looking to the sideline, and that's not something I'm a big fan of. So we'll get to that here a little bit more into the game, but Virginia did a really good job taking the fight right to us right off the bat, and that's what I would like to say is, from the game's perspective, the offense versus defense from the Miami Hurricanes point is the defense seems to go ahead and make adjustments. Lance Guidry, They got the shot, right across the bow right off the bat. But as the second drive, third drive, and then after halftime, Virginia was able to get another couple scores, but they weren't just storming down the field and scoring on every possession, because it looked like they were hot and that we were going to have a hard time stopping them. Malik Washington was the receiver that I talked about in the previous episode. He had another big game, caught that pass on the out route down the sideline. I believe it was Cam Kinchins missed the tackle, and thankfully, Corey Couch was there to get him shut down before he actually walked into the end zone. But that was the guy I was afraid of. That guy showed out. So we'll say hats off to that guy for number 4 for Virginia for bringing his A game. TBD's game. Let's go back to TBD, because the game was really tough, man. I mean, this first interception, it looked like it was a route that was developing and a possibly ability that he could hit that, but he threw it short. So obviously, he's playing injured. Give him credit. He's trying to tough it out, which he did last year. If it's me, I say that's not exactly the way I would go, because if you're taking your offense and putting handcuffs on it with a guy because he's maybe your most experienced guy and the guy you are trying to get to lead the team, kudos to him for toughing it out. But his performance was definitely what was keeping us back, because if A.J. Allen hadn't made that great run to get us on the board there in our first score, and he did a really incredible play leaping over that defender to get to the end zone, and without the game ending as it did, and we'll get to that here a little bit later, TBD wasn't the guy that won the game for us. In all accounts, he was really the one kind of keeping us from victory, and if you would like my opinion. So that's just what I would. Gosh, this is what's going to be tough for these last 4 games, is if this is the guy that we're going to be playing each and every week, I see some struggles coming up, because he is not able to spin the ball with efficiency. He's not reading the field very well, and his confidence is down. And he's good about, like I said in the previous episode, he's good about not showing his frustrations, but there's certainly some lack of ability that's going on on his end right now. So we got to give our hats off to on the good side. Ruben Bain showed up again, had another really good game. I would like to say somebody I didn't give credit to in the last episode, but somebody who's played extremely well is Kiko Malinoa. From the linebacker's perspective, this is something we've struggled with, is having a nice physical presence in the linebacker position. So he's been heaven sent. I mean, this guy has played extremely well, extremely physical. Maybe he's had a penalty here and there that's been really the only thing you could knock on his play, because, man, he's really been a huge addition to the defense. I'm really glad that he's out here. And then his little brother being the right tackle and being a freshman, a very, very high touted freshman, he's held his own. He's got a lot of good football ahead of him. His best days are certainly ahead of him, but getting him all this time and experience right off the bat is he's doing a good job. I would like to say both of them I know are a welcome addition to the Miami Hurricanes in 2023. Cam Kinchins, as I mentioned, he did miss the tackle and kind of let a big play develop, but came back with another big play. Without Cam Kinchins' interception and taking that for the score, Miami, in my opinion, doesn't have a chance to even win that game, because our offense, really outside of the kicker, who was lights out, give the MVP to Andres Borregales, because he had to make every single kick for us to even have a chance to get to overtime. And again, without the defensive score, we were way behind in that game, and Virginia wins. So the game played out as it did. You can't sit here and say without this play, without that play, because again, the game develops as each play happens. You know what I mean? The result is the result. 23-23 was the end of regulation. So what I would say is the offense did not look good. As far as what I was talking about earlier is the defensive side of the ball. Lance Guidry seems to go ahead and make necessary adjustments. He got kind of rocked right off the bat, but he really did turn around. The defense held down, did give up another score, but they were really playing really good football to keep us in the game, because I saw a statistic right at some point in the game that they had played, it was in the fourth quarter, so their offense had run 77 or something plays to our offense's 44 plays. And to go again with my frustration with the Miami Hurricanes, what they're going on and doing on offensively, is that's a recipe for disaster. When your defense has to sit down and hold down the opposing team's offense is constantly coming at you, that's susceptible to wearing down, having gaps and breakdowns in assignments, and then big plays happen. So give the defensive side and Lance Guidry his due. He's done what's been necessary to keep the Hurricanes defense relatively in most games, and lots of the games, because we are 6-2 at the current juncture, playing really well on that side of the ball. So good hats off to the defense for holding down that game, because it was really a defensive victory. And then, Borregales making his field goals. What I would like to say is we would, on the offensive side, if it's really going to be, we're going to be TBD's team, hell or high water, what I would like to see is we got to get more Brashard Smith, because explosive wise, that guy's got all the intangibles. If they're going to stand in the shotgun formation, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, if they're going to be running the ball and throwing, small dink and dunk passes, being back in the shotgun time after snap is only able to make the defense get a feel for you. And it's even harder for that line to hold up, because the defensive side, these guys are, no dummies. They, again, are also watching the same film that we're watching. They have all this experience and they know their players. They know what's going to go on. So having TBD sit back in shotgun and just take snap after snap is going to be a tough road to hoe for the rest of the season. But by all accounts, you got to get Brashard Smith in the game more. He's got the explosive ability. He's making guys miss. It was good to see Mark Fletcher back, and it seems, and he won the game with his rush at the end of the game. But if our running game is going to have to be the focal point, because the passing game is really gone to almost non-existent. Our timing's off. TVD's not throwing the ball well. If we have to go to the backup, he doesn't have enough experience to really be a 300, 400 yard passing game kind of guy. So we're really going to have to rely on getting good rushes, and I don't see how we're going to do that outside of getting a little more creative. So Brashard Smith, I'll hopefully see a lot more of that guy. Mark Fletcher, certainly is going to be important because he's a bigger physical runner. And again, he's young, so as a true freshman, that's hard to say. You can expect a guy to go break a bunch of tackles and be the ground and pound type of runner. But let's just sit here and pray that he can be that guy for us, because that's going to be really important for the last of these games here. If that's how it's going to be, that's just how we're going to survive. I really hope that he's up to the task. So again, why at the end of the game, we're kneeling the ball with 23 seconds. I know that's not a lot of time, but we have 3 timeouts, and we're kneeling the ball to go into overtime. Coaching wise, I don't like that decision. That really seems to me like a recipe for getting yourself beat in the extra time, because it's all about the momentum, and football is extremely important about momentum. Carries you whether you're on the high trajectory or you're on the low trajectory. So the biggest thing that I keep wondering is, like, the play that we scored at the end of the game to win the game. Mark Fletcher made a great play getting to the outside and breaking a tackle at the 5 to get in the last 5 yards, and that's what I'm saying. He's going to be important. But the formation was like baffling to me. Why are we running a pistol formation with our quarterback who has zero threat to run the ball? And if he has the ability, or he had the ability earlier in the season, that ability and that threat is almost gone down to zero, and it was zero because I don't think he ran at all this last game. But he's not a threat to run the ball because he's injured, and 2, that's just not what they're asking of him, which is a mistake in my opinion, because a pistol formation was designed with an athletic quarterback to be a threat to run the ball. It's hand the ball, threat with the running back one side, but the quarterback is the threat to take it out the back door if the defense isn't playing honest, and those defensive ends are crashing in, and that's what happens to our running game. The defensive line just crashes down, creates a wall. There's really nowhere for the running backs to go up the field. So if they're going to make yardage, they got to find a way to break a tackle and then get out to the outside, because defenses are keying in on our rush that way. And that's what's so mind-boggling to me, is how we are not at all giving a chance to keep a quarterback that would be a threat to run that ball outside the back door on any of these plays. And I think what that would do is back the defense off a little bit and give you a chance to make some more passes happen, because this is getting really tough to watch. So with that being said, that was the game that we went through. Virginia, tough game, close game. And now what are we going to expect going into this next game? It's a prime time game, so a 5:30 game, Montana time, excuse me. It's a 7:30 game in Eastern broadcast timing. But we are going on the road to North Carolina State. Having just watched, I was on the road this weekend. I was doing some family things, so I wasn't able to sit down and lock down and watch the entirety of the NC State Clemson game. But getting back home and watching what I do have as far as what can expect is North Carolina State is going to be. It's going to be an extremely tough game. Their running back number 10, Concepcion, is explosive. He had a couple big plays against Clemson that ultimately they were able to kind of get ahead of Clemson and stay ahead of Clemson. And Clemson is not, again, Clemson of old, but they are still a quality program. But NC State certainly had everything for Clemson that they could handle, which gives me extremely anxiety inducing feelings, because we are really playing pretty bad football on the offensive side. Their defense seems to be a light defensive line, so they're running three defensive linemen a lot of times, spread out real wide, and then they play basically kind of keep everything in front of you defensively. So with us forcing these 5-yard 7-yard screen passes to receivers, I see that's going to be a real tough road to hoe, because we're going to have them coming downhill at us. And if our running game isn't on point, I think they're going to play with gaps available in the line. If our line can play lights out and really gain a physical edge on the game, maybe burst some holes, and then we can get some running backs to deep into the linebacker and the secondary depth. Maybe we have a chance if we can stay with, I guess, what Chris Ball's going for is keeping with the chains moving type of mentality, because it's not passing the ball and it's not airing it out for sure. So this is what I expect. I'm gonna predict with crushing my heart. I'm gonna predict that Miami doesn't win this next game. I'm gonna predict that NC State does win this next game. I will give you a score prediction. We'll go with NC State 21, Miami 17. I think it will be close. I think that's what Cristobal is going for. He must be going for shortening the game. Not having a lot of possession and a lot of plays being ran, because I think he just doesn't believe in the quarterback enough to hold up, is be my guess. But I think it's going to be extremely difficult. These last two games, we had to take it overtime with Clemson, a sliding team, and then a 2-5 team, now 2-6, to overtime to get those victories. And I see us going on the road. We aren't playing really well in the later games. We aren't playing, for some reason we play just as good on the road as we do at home, so I can't really put a finger on why that would be. Normally, home field, you have a lot more of an advantage, but we are going to NC State's house. They just had a home game against Clemson. For them, I think an inspiring victory where they did some good things. They had a defensive score on Clemson also. So I see they're playing with a lot of a positive momentum, and Miami's playing with they got the victory, but was it a strong and a convincing victory? I would say that's not the case. So unfortunately, that's just the way I see it. I predicted 8-4 in my season prediction. That's looking, if we can get to 8 wins, I will be surprised, because there's very tough games from here on out. For the last 4 games, I think are going to be extremely difficult. If we can squeak this one out, I will be, I'm a fan. I can't sit here and lie to you that I will ever be distraught about a victory. I can be a little bit down on how they come about, because, this is the content that I'm creating. I'm trying to be as real and honest as I can be, and not just be a homer anymore, because I did that in the past, and it certainly didn't look very good. So trying to keep what I believe are productive and real thoughts on these games. That's just what I foresee. I say right now, this is a Miami team that's got a lot of growing up to do. I certainly hope that, they can find their groove, get those passes back out. I just see TBD struggling right now, and what happened last year, I kind of foresee that's going to start happening to him again for the rest of the games this year. But who knows? We are again bowl eligible. We will get some extra practices, some time to heal up after the regular season's ended. I really can't see how Miami slides into that ACC championship game with only 2 spots, the top 2 teams getting a chance to play in that championship game. But, it's football. Anything can happen. That's why they play it out on the field, and it's not up to this guy here to put their record and make it so. That's why they are exciting to watch each and every week. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate if you've stuck through to the end of the video. We had some really great momentum on last week's video. I hope to keep the positive trajectory on the views, and please help your friends get up on their phone, grab their phone for them, and go find CANESCAST in the search bar and just hit subscribe for them real quick, so we can grow the channel, and we can keep having more fun doing this each and every week, because it's, victory or loss, it's always about the you, guys. Love the you. Can't wait to kind of see you guys here in the next episode. Hopefully have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Bye, guys.